You're sitting at your desk on a Tuesday morning in April. Your computer screen is staring blankly back at you. Your phone hasn't rung this week. And that goal you set 3 months ago, it's quietly resting somewhere, wherever you wrote it down. Let me ask you something. How many times have you set a goal, felt that rush of excitement, maybe even told someone in your life about it, and then realized down the line it never happened? How many times have you promised yourself this time would be different? I'm going to close 20 deals this year. I'm going to finally build a real database. I'm going to make six figures. And for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, you're on fire. You're prospecting every morning. You're making the calls. You're following up. You're telling yourself you've finally figured it out. But then common real estate things happen. Buyers ghost you after they get pre approved. Online leads don't respond at all. The market shifts. A deal falls apart at inspection. And suddenly the goal that felt so clear starts to feel impossible. The momentum you had is gone. The motivation you felt evaporates. So you stop engaging in your business. You tell yourself you'll restart on Monday, or after this deal closes, or when the market gets better. Now here's the shift. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't happening because you're not cut out for real estate. It's not happening because you lack discipline or hustle or talent. It's happening because a goal without a system can't carry you. This is where most agents miss it. Goals aren't worthless. Goals without systems are. Because a goal is direction, and direction without daily execution is just a fantasy. They fail you the moment the market becomes unpredictable. They fail you the moment burnout shows up. They fail you the moment a deal doesn't go perfectly. And here's what most people don't realize: not building systems doesn't just slow careers, it ends them quietly. Agents don't quit because they fail once, they quit because they repeat chaos too long. But here's the good news: this is not permanent. This isn't who you are. It's just how you've been operating. And you get to decide to change that right now. Today, I want to show you something different. This isn't theory. Like, this is what works in today's market. Something that doesn't require perfection, say something that works even when you're exhausted from showings, stressed about your pipeline, or discouraged by the market. I want to show you how to build systems instead of goals. Simple, flexible systems built on honesty, not perfection. And these systems don't just protect you from failure, they unlock your power. Your future income isn't built by what you want to close, it's built by what you do every single day. Systems are what turn effort into income. Goals just turn hope into pressure. If you design the right patterns, the right daily rhythms, the right small actions that happen automatically, you don't need willpower anymore. You just need a system. So, what's the difference between a goal and a system? A goal is a destination. A system is the road you walk every day. A goal says close 20 deals. A system says every morning at 9, I make 10 connection calls before I check email. A goal says build a 500-person database. A system says every week I add 5 real relationships to my CRM and follow up personally. A goal says make 6 figures. A system says I protect 2 hours a day for relationship building and follow up no matter what. Here's a truth most agents don't want to hear: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Goals give direction, systems create motion. Your results are created by what you repeat. Your life today is the result of hundreds of small patterns you barely notice. How you wake up, how you handle rejection, how you respond when a deal falls apart, how you use 10 spare minutes. Those patterns shape your future more than any big promise you make on a motivated day. Right now, there are two kinds of agents in this market: the ones waiting for things to get easier, and the ones building systems so they don't have to. You get to decide which one you are. Two people want to grow their business. Both set big goals. One builds a system. They choose one habit they can keep even on busy days: a short walk after dinner to clear their head and reset. They make it simple. They make it automatic. The other tries to overhaul everything: new scripts, new schedule, new CRM, new marketing plan. 3 months later, only one still has momentum. Two people want financial stability. One waits for the next big closing. The other builds a system that saves, tracks, and protects cash flow. Same market, different systems, different stress levels. Two people want to be more focused. One downloads every productivity app. The other protects 1 hour every morning for their most important work. The second one wins, not because they wanted it more, but because they built a better pattern. Goals tell you where you want to go. Systems decide whether you ever get there. And here's something important. For newer agents, systems create survival. They keep you from quitting when the first 6 months feel brutal. For experienced agents, systems create freedom. They keep success from turning into exhaustion. But systems do more than protect you. They give you leverage. They give you confidence. They give you freedom of choice. They give you emotional control. When your systems are strong, you stop reacting to the market and you start leading inside it. Systems don't just build pipelines, they protect your life. They protect your time. They protect your mental energy. They protect your relationships. And they protect your physical health. This is the turning point. Let's talk about what really drives systems: identity. And here's what you need to understand: you are choosing who you become every single day. Every action you take is a vote for the kind of agent you're becoming. When you make 10 connection calls, you're not just chasing business, you're casting a vote for being an agent who shows up consistently. When you add a lead to your CRM immediately, you're not just being organized. You're casting a vote for being an agent who doesn't let opportunities slip away. When you preview listings every week, you're not just looking at houses, you're casting a vote for being a market expert. These votes add up. And over time, the story you tell yourself about who you are begins to change. But here's the part most people don't understand: this isn't just mindset, this is biology. Your brain is constantly watching what you do, and it's asking one simple question: can I trust this person? Every time you follow through on a small commitment, your brain releases a chemical reward. That reward tells your nervous system, this behavior is safe, this behavior works, do it again. That's how habits are formed. That's how confidence is built. That's how identity becomes real. And that's why small wins matter far more than people realize. Because in real estate, the big wins are delayed. Closings take weeks or months. Referrals show up long after the effort. If you wait for those moments to feel successful, your brain gets starved of reward. And when the brain doesn't feel progress, it starts resisting effort. That's why so many agents lose momentum even when they're doing the right things. So you have to acknowledge the small wins because no one else will. Your clients don't know you made 10 calls today. Your family doesn't see you updating your CRM. The market doesn't clap when you follow your system. But your brain is paying attention. When you recognize that you showed up, that you followed your system, that you did what you said you would do, you reinforce trust with yourself. And that trust becomes self belief. Here's what most people don't understand: when agents stop making calls, they don't just lose leads, they begin to see themselves as someone who avoids hard things. And when agents protect their systems, they don't just build pipelines, they build self trust. Most agents try to change their identity through big statements: I want to be confident. I want to be disciplined. I want to be successful. But identity doesn't change through declarations, it changes through evidence. Every small action is evidence. You don't need bigger goals, you need daily proof. Your habits are your biography in motion. One day, your clients will describe you by those habits. So will your family. So will your kids. Your identity is being forged right now, in this conversation, in what you do next. You're not slowly improving. You're stepping into something, someone bigger. And this is where I want to tell you about Allison. Allison was ready to quit. She had committed to growing her career and stepping out of the old way of doing business into something new. She joined our community. She believed in our vision, but after a couple of months, she was frustrated and discouraged. She felt like she was doing everything and nothing was working. I'll never forget that phone call. We spent about an hour together really diving into the key systems that actually drive agent success. We talked about the honest weekly calendar, not a perfect one, but an honest one where she committed to consistently completing the activities that successful agents do regularly. We talked about carving out dedicated time for relationship building, both following up with her existing database and committing time to prospecting new quality relationships. We talked about showing up for every mastermind call, not just to learn from others, but to share her struggles and her wins so she could receive feedback, so others could learn from her, so her successes could be reinforced and her challenges supported. And at the end of that call, Allison made a decision. She committed to the systems, not perfectly, not flawlessly, not with fancy tools. She didn't even build her honest weekly schedule digitally like we recommended. She used a piece of paper, one page for each day of the week. That was the system that worked for her. And the next year, Allison became a top producer, not because she suddenly became more talented, not because she worked harder than everyone else, because she became consistent. I still get emotional every time I think about that night at our Wealth Builders dinner when she stood up and shared how consistency changed her life, how she was finally able to buy a car for her daughter and take care of things that had been waiting for years. Allison didn't become successful because she became perfect. She became successful because she decided who she wanted to be and then became that person one day at a time. That's what systems do. Now, let me tell you about Victoria. Victoria was already a top producer. She was crushing it in real estate. But every time we had a social event and invited spouses and partners, something quietly came out without drama, without complaining. Her business had overtaken every minute of her life, not just her time, but her mental energy. Her phone was always on, always buzzing, always pulling her back into work. She was constantly afraid she'd miss the next big deal or forget to touch base with someone in her large database. And what she was missing in all that success was something far more important: a loving husband who treasured the rare moments when her phone went away, when they could just sit together without an email or a text interrupting. So we built different systems for Victoria. We created a voice message that clearly shared her working hours. We built scripts to help her set expectations with clients about when she was available and when she wasn't. We created partnerships within her group so that when she and her husband went away, her clients were covered and she could actually disconnect. And something powerful happened. Her business didn't fall apart. Her clients didn't disappear. Her income didn't drop, but her life got better. She learned to set the right expectations with clients so that she and her husband could have that one on one time without her losing focus to the demands of the business. And now they take long, enjoyable vacations together, real vacations, where her phone stays off and her mind stays present. Victoria didn't just save her business from burnout, she reclaimed her life. She chose freedom because systems aren't always about making more money. Often they're about protecting what money can't replace. Now let's come back to you. Right now, there are two kinds of agents reading their database: the ones who feel guilty they haven't called yet, and the ones who have a system that makes the call happen automatically. You can decide which one you want to be. Most agents design systems for the agent they wish they were, not the agent they actually are. They look at a top producer's schedule and think that's what they need to copy. But maybe you're not a morning person. Maybe you have kids to get to school. Maybe you're better on the phone than at the door. When you force yourself into someone else's system, it doesn't fit. And when it doesn't fit, it doesn't last. So build from reality, not fantasy. Ask yourself honest questions. When do I have the most energy? What drains me? What energizes me? What kind of agent do I actually want to be? Your system should feel like something you could still do on your worst day, because bad days are the real test. And here's something important: predictable systems create predictable pipelines. Predictable pipelines reduce financial stress. And reduced financial stress changes how you show up for clients and your family. Now, let's talk about leverage. You already have habits. You make coffee. You drive to work. You check email. You finish showings. You go to bed. Instead of creating brand new habits from scratch, attach new behaviors to ones you already have. After you pour your morning coffee, review your top 5 hot leads. After you finish a showing, send a follow-up text. After you sit at your desk, make your 10 calls before checking email. After you get in the car to go home, call one past client. Tiny actions, huge impact over time. And now let's talk about small wins. In real estate, big wins can take months. If you wait for closings to feel successful, you will burn out. So start celebrating the actions. You made your calls today. You showed up to your mastermind. You added every lead to your CRM 35 seconds. You followed your system even when you didn't feel like it. Those are wins. And here's something powerful: small wins aren't small, they're chemical. Every time you complete something, your brain releases dopamine. That's the reward chemical. And dopamine doesn't care if you closed $1 million listing or made 10 phone calls. It just cares that you completed what you set out to do. But here's the problem: no one else is going to acknowledge these wins for you. Your clients don't know you made those calls. Your family doesn't see you updating your CRM. The market doesn't celebrate your consistency. So you have to. Let me give you an example. Maybe every Tuesday and Thursday is your relationship building time. That's when you're going to make as many phone calls and have as many meaningful conversations as possible. At the end of that block of time on Tuesday, don't just close your phone and move on to the next thing. Take a moment, step back, give yourself a pat on the back. Really acknowledge that you completed your system for the day. Now, maybe you only talked with 2 people, and that's fine. But what's really great is you completed the implementation of that system. You showed up when you said you would. You did what you committed to do. That's the win. And then look forward to the next time you're going to do it. The other part of an honest weekly system is taking some time every week to review your schedule. What systems worked and what systems did not? Again, be honest. And then ask yourself, how do I adapt to make sure that whatever systems weren't successful or I didn't take action on, how do I fix this? Be honest with yourself about why it happened. Was it the wrong time of day? Was it too ambitious? Was it something I simply won't do? Then adapt the system or the time it takes place to make sure you can build your success through that system as intended. And if there are times when you realize consistently that you are just not implementing a system or tool, don't be afraid to ditch it and replace it with something different. Be honest. Take action. Train your brain to see progress. Now let's talk about decision fatigue. Every decision drains energy. Should I prospect or answer email? Should I door knock or follow up? Should I work on marketing or transactions? By noon, you're exhausted mentally. So build anchors: morning anchor, midday anchor, evening anchor. Not rigid, predictable. Your morning anchor might be coffee, calendar review, MLS check, 10 calls. Your midday anchor might be lunch, CRM update, lead review. Your evening anchor might be follow-ups, prep for tomorrow, shutting down. These anchors reduce chaos. They reduce overthinking. They protect your energy. Now let's talk about slow progress. Real estate success is slow, and for a long time, invisible. You door knock for months and nothing happens. You nurture leads and nobody responds. You go 2 months without a closing. And your brain says, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But underneath the surface, roots are growing. Relationships are forming. Trust is building. Your name is becoming familiar. Systems compound. Let's do the real math. 10 calls a day is 50 a week, 200 a month, 2,400 a year. How many of those people will buy, sell, or refer you? Even if it's just 5% who pick up, that's 120 warm conversations that could turn into business. Or let's say you send 5 handwritten notes every Friday to past clients. That's 260 notes per year. If just 10% of those people refer you one client over 2 years, that's 26 deals from 5 notes per week. That's the compound effect. That's the power of patience. You're closer than you think. Now let's talk about motivation. Most people think motivation creates action, but action creates motivation. You don't wait to feel confident to prospect. You prospect and then confidence follows. On low energy days, you don't skip your system. You run the minimum version. 5 calls instead of 10, 10 doors instead of 20, 2 listings instead of 5. Shrink the action, not the identity. Because when you skip entirely, the identity breaks. And when you protect the identity, momentum stays alive. But what happens when systems break down? Because they will. Life happens. A family emergency pulls you away. You get sick. A transaction consumes every minute for 2 weeks. And suddenly you realize you haven't followed your system in days. Here's what most people do. They feel guilty. They beat themselves up. They think they've failed. And they quit entirely. Don't do that. Missing 3 days doesn't erase 3 months of consistency. Missing a week doesn't mean you start over from zero. Think of it like this. If you're driving to a destination and you miss a turn, you don't drive home and start the trip over. You recalculate. You get back on the road. You keep moving forward. Same with systems. When you realize you've fallen off, you don't need a big dramatic restart. You just need the next right action. Tomorrow morning, make your 10 calls. That's it. Don't make up for lost time. Don't try to do 50 calls to compensate. Just do 10. Get back into the rhythm. Systems are resilient if you let them be. This is your moment. And if you participate in Agent Collective, here's something powerful. You're not doing this alone. When you're having a tough month, you have people who understand, who've been there, who will encourage you to keep going. When you're stuck on a problem, you have colleagues who will share what worked for them. 2 seconds. When you need support, you have partners who will work alongside you, who will hold you accountable, who will celebrate your wins. This isn't about white knuckling your way through real estate. This is about building systems inside a community that supports you. Now let's bring it all together. You don't need bigger goals. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a perfect plan. You need simple, honest, sustainable systems that fit your real life. Systems that work when you're tired from back-to-back showings, when you're stressed about a deal falling apart, when you go 2 months without a closing. Because what you repeat is what you become. Every call is a vote. Every follow-up is a vote. Every relationship is a vote. And those votes become your identity. And your identity becomes your income. So stop chasing dramatic goals. Start building quiet systems. Design 3 anchors for your day: morning, midday, evening. Attach new habits to ones you already have. Celebrate small wins. Trust that relationships are growing even when you don't see closings yet. Show up even when you don't feel motivated. Now, here's what I want you to do. Not next quarter, this week. Design one system for lead generation. Not a goal, a system. Maybe it's 10 connection calls every morning before email. Design one system for follow-up. Maybe it's every lead in your CRM within 5 minutes with automatic touches. Design one system for market expertise. Maybe it's previewing 5 listings every Monday. These systems don't have to be impressive. They just have to be honest. And they have to start this week. But here's what I really want you to hear. You're not trying to close 20 deals. You're becoming the kind of agent who naturally closes 20 deals. You're not behind. You're building or rebuilding correctly. Your identity is being forged right now in this decision, in what you choose next, in who you decide to be. Your future is being built right now, not by what you wish would happen, not by what you plan to do someday, but by what you repeat today and tomorrow and the day after that. In this market, systems aren't optional. They're survival. But more than that, they're your path to freedom, to confidence, to control, to the life you actually want. So start small, start honest, start today. Build your systems. Trust the process. Be patient with the progress. Lean on your community when you need support. And watch as your business transforms. Not through dramatic breakthroughs, but through quiet, consistent, powerful daily action. Because in real estate, systems beat goals every single time.